Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back from the ad break. You are still watching Prime Life. Now, we will be speaking about effective parenting strategies for anxious children. And this evening, we've got Karen Archer, the Director of Bellavista S.H.A.R.E, which is an educational resource center that offers support and guidance for parents of children. Now, today, Karen will be talking about effective parenting strategies that we need to know for anxious children. This is going to be a very interesting conversation with Karen, and she is joining us on Zoom. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining us on Prime Live, and we welcome you this evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Now, before we actually start about the workshop itself, can you give us an overview of the services and resources that you offer at Bella Vista S.H.A.R.E?
Okay, sure. So, Bellavista S.H.A.R.E it's a professional development hub, and it falls under Bellavista School, which is a remedial school based in Johannesburg in Birdhaven. And Bellavista S.H.A.R.E really was born out of the need to share the knowledge that we sit on. So at Bellavista School, we have um, this array of professionals ranging from speech therapists, occupational therapists, remedial therapists, social workers, got educators, learner support, educators. So instead of only working with our own staff, we really want to share our knowledge and give back and work beyond just our school within Greater Johannesburg, within the whole of South Africa and beyond. And the work that we do is for those allied health professionals and educators that work within education on a daily basis and right from the early childhood development phase through to adult learners. So we really want to share the knowledge that we are very privileged with and
Mm.
um, and work with. So we have a range of online and in-person workshops and webinars and accredited courses that we offer.
Hmm. That's really great work that you are doing. But before we actually get into the topic itself on how parents can be there for their anxious children, what are the signs that they can look out for at the beginning, to see that this child might be anxious?
Yeah, so I'm just going to take you back quickly because there's such a myth around anxiety itself.
Mm.
Anxiety, it's an emotion, it's a feeling that we experience. And many of us look at anxiety as this negative emotion. But
Yes.
there's also anger and jealousy and happiness and sadness. So, what we need to really get across to everyone, and especially if you are a parent, is that we need to be able to look at anxiety and reframe it and welcome it in. Because anxiety is that feeling when you are, you're cautious. It's really is saving you. It's keeping you alert to what's going on out there. It really does protect you. So if you're in the lion park or in the game reserve and you're about to get out of your car, anxiety will be that natural reaction to say, don't do that. It can be life saving. It can also just give you a boost of energy before a race or before an exam. And that is daily anxiety. It's a fear that it's a feeling we all feel. So let's embrace it. But what happens when anxiety is overwhelming, when it's not temporary, when it's interfering with daily activities such as your job performance or relationships or schoolwork? That's when it becomes a disorder. And that's where parents need to sort of be alert to what their child might be feeling. So let's look quickly at some of the symptoms that a parent must look out for, as you asked. So, psychologically, you might notice that these thoughts, as a person or as your child, they really are uncontrollable. They are obsessive thoughts. And you'll see it in their behavior that your child may be more on edge or irritable. They might have outbursts, they might be very clingy, they might be tearful, withdrawn, they have difficulty concentrating. You may notice as a teacher, the child is going to the toilet very often, during a maths lesson, for example. But it's important also for a parent to look out, is your child sleeping and eating behavior? Have there been any changes in that behavior? And then we also have to look at the physical symptoms. And you must realize that during that anxious moment, blood is actually rushing from your digestive system to all other parts, your extremities in your body. So it actually really can result in cramps, in diarrhea and nausea, this rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, lightheadedness. You could have your child often complaining of headaches. They might look quite sweaty sometimes, tense up their hands, that muscle tension. And so when you're looking for these things, know that that child is really feeling that feeling of anxiety actually does become real to their body. So they are having sore tummies before maybe they have to swim in a gala. They might really be feeling that. So you need to take that quite seriously as a parent. But we all feel anxious, but is it to the point that your child has stopped doing the things they love to do? Is it interfering on that daily basis where maybe it's school refusal, they're stopping sports they used to love, they're not socializing as much? So it's really good to be aware of what it looks like.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, after seeing that your child could be possibly struggling with, anxiety, what can now parents do to show support to these children?
Okay, so you remember when I said that we've got to change our own narrative and way that we look at anxiety.
Mm,
If we say to the child that it's normal and that we all feel it, it normalizes it for them. And they
mm,
immediately feel like maybe they can cope with it, that they
mm,
can have some sense of control. So first of all, we've got to understand as the parent is that you need to yourself co-regulate. This is very much based on the work of Bruce Perry. He is an American psychiatrist, and he talks about three R's. You need to regulate, you need to relate, and reason. You need to be able to connect before you correct. So you yourself have to be regulated as the adult. Remember that many anxious parents have anxious children because there's a strong genetic link, but also because children are watching their parents modeling. So if you are very anxious in a situation, the child will look at that and act as well. But if you highly strung and
mm,
you are feeling yourself dysregulated, you cannot try and regulate a child's emotions. So the first thing is, as an adult, you need to regulate first before you can correct. And don't avoid anxious situations. It's the worst. Procrastination is just key to, that to an anxious person. They'll put off, they'll put off, they'll put off because they can avoid it. So how often, yeah, as a parent, do you think you have put off events to make it easier for your child? So we avoid it because it's actually hard. And it can actually become quite debilitating for the entire family because then anxiety starts to then control your entire family. So you've got to develop this toolbox and you've got to believe it's possible to get through this anxious time. Because if you believe, your child will look to you and say, okay, if my mum or dad believes, then I think I can do it as well. So one of the first things that psychologists work with is something called externalizing anxiety. And they use something called the worry monster. So you ask the child to name this worry monster. So by giving it a name, it's externalizing it. It's outside of you. And if you can externalize something, then you've got more control over it. And then the child starts to believe that they can beat this worry monster. So they talk to it, like saying, you know, they give it almost, children will give anxiety a house on their shoulders. So you've got to tell the child, well, why are you housing this anxiety? Why are you welcoming anxiety in and letting it control you? Yes, we never want it to go, anxiety, because we know it's good. But look at what it's doing, what it's telling you. Do you think what it's telling you is helpful? And as soon as you externalize it, you're also saying, we as parents and siblings can beat this together because it's something outside of you. We don't need to get rid of it. No emotion can actually harm you, okay? It cannot hurt you, it can't kill you. But what we do with it is what is different. So your actions are now in control of how you are reacting to the situation. So that is one of the most effective ways when you look to the cognitive behavioral side of emotion,
mm,
I mean anxiety. And another, there's some wonderful work. There's no psychologist these days that don't look to grounding work and mindfulness. Now, if you think about it, anxiety is a future orientated state of mind. Anxiety is about what's to come, what's in the future. Mindfulness and breath work brings you back to the present. So there's so many beautiful techniques that a psychologist will do to work with the child and the parent, because there's no point in just working with a child. A lot of psychologists will say, I only need to meet the child once, and then I need to work with the parents, because the parents have got so much power in assisting this child working through it. So the parents need to learn all the strategies and work with the child. So grounding techniques is very much even walking barefoot during the day. It's being present. It's noticing how your body's reacting to the anxiety. And one of the ones I love is what we call the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. So you've got to acknowledge 5 things that you can see around you. Then you've got to acknowledge 4 things that you can touch around you. So you ask the child to actually touch the 4 things they identify. Then what about the third one would be things that you can hear. So then you ask the child to stop and listen. What 3 things can they do? 3 things they can hear. 2 things they can smell. And then finally 1 thing that they can taste. So that's one lovely grounding technique you can use. Another one is called the 3-3-3 rule. Identify 3 things you can see, 3 things you can hear, and 3 ways you can move your body. So it's basically a way of distracting yourself from the anxiety and shifting your attention to your senses. And that immediately will ground you. We were recently in a game reserve, and my little daughter, 6, is picked up this fear of elephants. You're rightly so. An elephant is scary. And she goes into, sure, she gets so anxious, she panics, and I can feel it. And we played this color game, which basically you say to the child, I want you to I want you to pick a color, okay? And we did red, and I said to her, I want you to name any red objects you can see. So she would say, there's a jacket, there's a cup. And immediately it's bringing her to the present. And I found it was a very helpful technique in that situation that can become very anxiety provoking. Um, and another one is also breath work. A beautiful, a lot of psychologists will use breath work, really focusing on that breathing in and breathing out slowly. And it's in that moment, it's sending signals to your brain to hover, just to take that step back before your brain is interpreting this fear response in you. It hovers and tells you, just wait, take a minute. Let's just step back from the situation before you react, because it becomes so habitual the way we react to things. And in that moment of grounding, of mindfulness, of breath work, it's a process where you're pausing and you are being present. So they're beautiful techniques that work very well with children and adults as well.
I mean, you've said so many beneficial things, and I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people are quite educated right now in terms of all the information that you are sharing. But in terms of the parents that are watching right now, is there any platform, are there any resources that they can utilize to make sure that they are fully there to support their children during anxiety?
So I think the first thing is be educated, and you can get in touch with us at Bella Vista. So it's www.bellavista.org.za, and you can navigate to S.H.A.R.E, where there's a wealth of online material there about anxiety. And we do run some beautiful parenting workshops, because as I said, the psychologists will really work closely with the parents of how to reframe anxiety for the child and to work with the child closely. So if you are concerned that your child is developing an anxiety disorder, then it's very important to get in touch with the psychologist, um, to get on board and get some parenting tips in this space. But as I said, the more educated you are, the more you normalize anxiety for the child, then you welcome it in, make it part of the family, like happiness, like sadness. And that is the first step to a child being more aware and in control, because it's very interesting. Just one more thing is that many parents believe if they make their child aware of their anxiety, they believe it is going to make their anxiety worse. That's a myth. The more you embrace it and talk to your child about it and make them aware of how they're feeling or how a situation is making them feel anxious, they will immediately feel more in control of the anxiety and believe that they can cope.
Most definitely, but the final words of the show tonight is definitely an advice that we want you to give, to parents as as a way of encouraging them through this difficult time of, also navigating anxiety in their children. What words of encouragement and wisdom and education would you give to them before you leave?
So I think learning to regulate emotions is a skill that children learn when they're supported by a key adult. So I think whereas we as the key adult can co-regulate and develop those skills, those what we call metacognitive skills, to regulate themselves, I think is a true gift in life.
Most definitely. I mean, this has been such a wonderful interview that I just had with you, Karen. And thank you so much for, sharing your knowledge on this very important topic. And we really, really commend you on the great work that you do on the, organization, because I think a lot of parents might be going through this, but they don't necessarily know how to navigate this particular chapter. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Viewers at home, that was Karen Archer, who is the Director of Bellavista S.H.A.R.E. And I really hope that you had a fantastic time with me as I was conversing with her regarding anxiety amongst children. But without wasting any time, let's go to a quick break. We'll see you right after this.